there?
Yeah, we have. Well, it's melting slowly, I have to say, but now the sun's gone down. I think what we've got will stay because it's due to freeze again tonight.
Yeah, it went bitterly cold. I know, like last night when I was out, I heard like a cat crying, and typical me went out there to try and find it. But
did you find it?
I'm just thinking the last thing I want is like, not one of mine, but just thinking for a little animal to be out there. It was freezing.
Cold.
But anyway, we'll crack on. It's lovely to have you on here.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here with you.
I know, and I know you've had to move rooms and everything, so I really appreciate that. You've had to jump from your...
The snow just meant that I couldn't go to work, and so yeah, it's fine. So I'm just in my dining room right now, so it's very glam, not.
Well, I think that's what we're all doing, isn't it? We're all having to adapt and change and do things.
Absolutely. I think there's loads of us, isn't there, working from home and doing what we can, you know, around homeschooling and everything else. So yeah, but that's women for you. We're good at that.
So how many children have you got and how old?
Just one 9-year-old boy. Yeah. And that keeps me on my toes enough, as well as a husband, because that's just like having a second child as well. So
I know, very different. So anyway, there's a few people watching, so give us a wave, say hello, warm the algorithm up, as they say, so people know to watch. But we've shared it with a few people, but I just was really wanted to get Jack on here because I met Jack not so long ago, because as you know, I'm taking my business online and providing courses and obviously engaging with the online community. And that's how we met, because Jack's also a business which is very much hands-on, but has also found, obviously, with the lockdown, your services have been affected as well, haven't they?
Totally, yeah. Well, obviously, the whole wedding industry has just come to a complete standstill at the moment. We're all sitting on our hands waiting to go again. But yeah, it's been seriously affected. I can't get the words out.
No, we've got that thing going on. So how did you start it all, the Savvy wedding planner?
The Savvy Stylist started not that long ago, but I just found during the COVID period that I really wanted to give support to my customer base that I already have. So I run my own wedding business called Pretty Quirky, which is a prop hire and styling company, and I've run that for the last 6 years. And I really felt that my brides and grooms all needed some support through COVID. And then I started to get messages from people that were wanting to plan their weddings, but obviously struggling to in lockdown because everything was shut. And so the Savvy Stylist was born just to create a little bit of excitement still for brides and grooms out there and for other people in the industry, just to try and keep up positivity and basically to take my message that I'm trying to give to my local brides and my actual clients just further afield. So it just means that I can broaden my audience by going online. Yeah, so it's not just a local thing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's really surprised me. So although I've got, 8,000 clients, which is brilliant, I realised that actually I just couldn't touch them anymore. So it was that kind of like, you had to jump through the computer screens and how can we do it? So I've been doing like 1980s makeup lessons and stuff like that, just to like have a little bit of fun, but keep people engaged, because I think we all need it, don't we?
Yeah, and I think also not only just our clients, but ourselves too. If you're in the industry that we're in, you're quite personable. You want to be reaching out to people. You want to be helping people and engaging with people. So when you suddenly can't do that, when you get the creative side taken away from you, and even part of our job is being social as well. So when that's suddenly taken away from you, it does have a huge impact. So being able to do this virtually has helped not only my clients, but myself too.
I think that's why I did the 1980s makeup lesson, because I was just going through some stuff and it made me laugh.
Yeah.
And we've just got to find things that make us laugh.
Absolutely. Anything that can keep that positivity up. And, I'm always a glass half full type of person, not empty. It's very easy to turn it upside down.
I like you.
So you've got to just stay that way. And it's just keeping that topped up for people in any way you can.
Yeah. Well, this is being streamed on my YouTube channel and obviously on EstherMarie as well. So hopefully people will be able to see how bubbly and lovely you are. Because I think at the end of the day, what we need to do is you need to pick your suppliers who you're going to have for your wedding day or for your event, but personalities do make a difference, don't they?
absolutely huge. I'm always saying to people that not only do you want to get a good service and a good product, but you've also got to work with that person potentially when you're planning a wedding for like 18 months, 2 years, to a year really at the least that you're with that person. So you want to know that you're going to get good rapport, do you know what I mean? And I know when I had my wedding, I look back now at the people that I used and I think of them so fondly, and I'd be really proud after the day if people felt the same about me, and that's how I want them to be. You make a good friendship with people, which is lovely.
Yeah, I think hand on heart, if anyone's listening to this that knows me from their wedding day, they know that I'm still in contact with them. And you get so many referrals as well because there's so many bridesmaids and other people involved, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just a ripple effect. It goes out. The majority of my clients now come through my venues because they know me. I'm established. I know the venues well, and I can work with those venues. But yeah, the ripple effect is lovely, and people will say, oh, people told me how lovely you were, and that goes a long way. I think in business now you have to be personable and you have to bring your personality across.
And when we do, I know you're going to be the same as me. I'd say about 99% of everyone's rebooked and rebooked again. About the same.
Yeah, it's just sort of slowly turning over from obviously 20 to 21, and then some are pushing out now till 22. But yeah, 99% of everybody we have managed to change their dates and still remain their supplier, which is fantastic. We're all working together, so that's great.
Sandra's just popped on here. I know Sandra through the wedding industry as well, and she basically, they do absolutely amazing wedding dresses, and she just put on there, it's great to keep in touch and just keep that recommendation going, and I think it's really important. So what bit of advice would you say to anybody who's sitting there, who's got their venue and everything booked? Do you kind of give them any advice as to when they make that decision about rebooking or making a change?
Yeah, I've said to all of my brides, really, it really depends on how well you can cope as an individual. So if you're sitting there stewing and you're getting yourself in, building all of that anxiety and you just don't know what to do with it, I think now's the time that you need to speak up and talk, because communication definitely with any scenario helps to start with. So you've got to stand up and speak and say what you would like to happen at least. The first port of call there is you've got to go to your venue really before you can speak to kind of your other suppliers. But the majority of venues now, I would say, are looking at your date 3 months beforehand and then making a decision on what the current situation is. Obviously, none of us have got a crystal ball. We'd all like to say that we'd be back on our feet by summer and that would be absolutely fine and everything would be running perfectly, but we just don't know. So I think just talking to people definitely helps. Just that communication. So yeah, starting with your venue first of all, but in your gut what do you feel and go with that. But yeah, definitely talk out loud about it. Don't just sit there stewing. That would be my first bit of advice to start with.
Yeah, it's definitely the brides who just don't pick up the phone or say anything. It's like, I think they just, the sense of overwhelm is like massive. And there's been a couple of occasions that it's like in 2 weeks time I'm supposed to be doing someone's wedding and it's not happening. And I picked the phone up to them and I said, I know it's not happening. And they just don't want that conversation with anybody today because they're heartbroken and they've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, totally. It's a really, no bride should have to be in this situation. And some brides are facing it for the second, third time, which is awful. Everybody's wedding journey should be exciting. Do you know what I mean? But this journey has been a real roller coaster for everybody, and that's just unfair. So we're trying to keep people, that's another reason we want to be, in touch with our clients and keeping them excited. But yeah, definitely don't sit there stewing by yourself. The first thing to do is to speak up.
Yeah, and speak to your suppliers because they have had so many people in the same situation. And if there's a supplier that you can't get anymore, they can recommend and do. But do you think, Jackie, obviously we're now again 2021, it's kind of like a bit iffy, we just don't know. 22, 23, what are we going to be doing? Because we're going to be looking at people, probably doing 3 years worth of weddings in 1 year soon.
Yeah,
I think we do need to rest.
Yeah, I know. Everybody keeps telling me that. Enjoy this time while you can, because when it goes, it's going to go and it's going to go. Yeah. But yeah, I think what will happen is the seasons will become, primarily we normally have the wedding season right in the middle of the year, but I think people will be filling out the other ends of the year. So, springs and winter weddings will become such a bigger thing. And also midweek weddings will become really popular. I think lots of people are realizing that, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a wedding on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and lots of my clients have taken that choice. Even a Sunday, there was a stigma around a Sunday at one time, but now you know, lots of weddings take place on a Sunday. So that's absolutely fine, you know, and I just think that we'll just pad out more. So we will be busy. Once we get going, we'll be really busy.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I have heard of scenarios of actually some venues doing, I mean, I think some venues do already, but they do like 2 weddings in a day, which I think is like, wow. But yeah, I mean, it's just that, you know, really work with your suppliers, because that's the last thing that you want to do. For me, I mean, like we keep talking about like when is a good time to get married. I mean, we both work. I mean, you being obviously somebody who normally kits the venue out and something, a lot of your work's done probably days in advance, is it?
Sometimes it all depends on the venue. If the venue is a popular venue that gets used literally on a rotational basis, where, you know, literally Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're having a wedding, I'm normally the first one in the door, and I like to be there as early as possible, just in case anything goes wrong. I'd rather have the time on my side. So I can't sleep the night before a wedding, because I want up and I want out and I want there and I want it done and I want it organised. And like you were just saying about multiple weddings, sometimes I can have 6 weddings in a weekend. So obviously all of that's rattling around in my head. I just want to be able to get it and get it done and get it out there, and know that it's as perfect as what the bride wants it to be, and what, well, my standards probably higher than what the bride's are, to be honest. So I want it to be perfect for them. But yes, I think in terms of timings, obviously, because the registrars are really busy, they're now offering extra time. So weddings are now being offered at 11 in the morning, and whereas 11 wasn't as popular before, but people are sort of jumping on that because that's the only time they can get. What they just need to remember in those scenarios of either getting married earlier in the day or later is it does have a knock-on effect of all your suppliers. So for yourself, for instance, if you're going to a wedding that is at 11, they've got to be at their ceremony before 11 o'clock, stood there ready to go. You know, if they've got like 5 bridesmaids, that is a lot of work that's got to take place first thing in the morning. And that's what they just need to be aware of, that it will have a knock-on effect of other things. And equally, if you go the end of the day, then it's a lot of hanging around too. So it's just trying to get those timings right so that it works with everybody along the way too, and just runs smoothly and for everybody.
Yeah, the 10, 11 o'clock weddings, it's normally the one where there's at least 9 people for makeup and hair. So we've got, you know, we're kicking off at like, you know, my alarm clock's going at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, my sort of conversation with the bride is very much focused on, I just need somebody that I can do something to about 6 o'clock in the morning. And you can see the overwhelm on their face, as if to say, but I don't do everyone's makeup at 6 and somebody at 7 and somebody at 8. I break it down so everybody gets involved. So you do it in different ways. And then, like you're saying, the afternoon weddings, they're great for me, apart from I'm normally at a wedding at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And to know that I don't need to be there until probably like 9, 10, I'm just like thinking this just feels wrong. So yeah, if I could have an ideal time, I think sort of like 1, 2 o'clock. But like you say, I think now what they're going to do is they're probably going to do like 11 o'clock weddings and 3 o'clock weddings, so they can have that scenario. Because as you say, it's not just the venue, it's the registrars that have obviously got to fit everybody in.
Yeah.
So we're talking about best times to get married, how can we plan and what have you. But I think the thing that you've kind of tapped into the marketplace, and I'm doing it a little bit more now with my online courses, which is like I wouldn't say DIY style, but I think a lot of people, like you say, your branding's perfect. They've just become a bit more savvy. And I have noticed with some clients, I always say to them, well, do you want me to do your makeup? Do you want the VIP experience? Or maybe what we could do is just do like a makeup lesson, and then you've got the skills that you can use forever. I mean, is that kind of like what you've been doing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I always say to people that your wedding is like Christmas. It's actually, you know, it's not just about the day sort of thing. You've got the build up to it and everything. And I think the build up to a wedding is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and brides are indulging in that. Do you know what I mean? Which is great. You know, they want the jumpers with bride to be on, and they want all of that kind of thing. And I think that is an experience in itself. So if they were having, you know, a pamper or a makeup lesson where they could get their skin prepared, ready for them for their wedding day, day. I think that's a really lovely thing to indulge in. And from my side, yeah, I think they want to, you know, have a go at making their own stationery or have a go at making something that's going to be there on the day. And I really welcome that, because I'm all about the personal sort of touches in a wedding. I really believe that your wedding day, as your guests walk in, it should have their names written all over, your names written all over it, sorry, so your guests know immediately whose wedding they're entering. And that doesn't have to be in a big lavish way, but small touches, and you knowing that perhaps, I don't know, that between you and your mum you've made the bunting that's hanging up in your venue or things like that. It's just really lovely little things. So yes, definitely, I think people are becoming, one, more creative, two, they love indulging in it, and three, yes, the budget thing has definitely got to be in there as well. You know, we're all on a budget, no matter whether it be big or small or what it is, we're all on a budget all the time. So what I'm just trying to do is that show people there's different ways, that, you know, trying to educate people there's different ways of doing it. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the key thing with all of that is that I think everybody is embracing that I can have a go. But I think for me, I would just send a bit of a warning signal out there, which is probably where you coach people with your courses and things. Yeah. I have turned up to weddings and I'm the bride on the wedding morning is still writing the names for the table decorations.
Yeah.
Or they're hanging the balloons. And I just think it's like, you know, yes, because some venues won't let you get in there until a certain time. No. So I think your skills and my skills is like, okay, this is how much time you need to allow. And when you do bring in professional people, they do give you that timetable, but we pass that knowledge on, obviously, with what we do.
Absolutely. I think also what happens there is you can become so aware of the budget, but ultimately you can't get your wedding day back again. And the wedding prep is just as special and as part of your big day as the actually getting married part. You don't get that part back too. So for paying somebody a small percentage to go into your venue and do the whole setup is so valuable. And if you look at that as a percentage of what you've paid for the whole wedding, it's so minimal. And it just buys you time, because that's what you don't get back. And the time goes so fast. I mean, I do it all the time. And yet I think, goodness, where have the hours flown by to? So yeah, so I think it's just being wise with your time. A year, sometimes, as I say to my brides, if they're running up to a wedding and they've got a year to plan, take out all the weekends that you're working, take all out the weekends that you're being social. It doesn't actually leave that many to be making whatever it is you need to be making. So just be wise with your time.
One of the questions that I get sort of, and I can see, is that some brides give their bridesmaids jobs to do. And, you know, I sometimes find that I'm actually dealing with one bridesmaid with the wedding, and then another bridesmaid's in control of something else, and another bride's in something else, which I think is good, because ultimately old-fashioned times, that was really what your bridesmaids were for, and your ushers were to try and obviously help you. But what would you say if somebody was thinking like that? Is that a good thing?
I think it can be, as long as the communication is there to start with. I mean, ultimately, it all depends on your venue. So, for instance, in your situation, you perhaps need that bridesmaid to do their hair and makeup, and they might be downstairs in a venue somewhere where you don't know how to get hold of them, nobody can get hold of them, and you're rushing to do their hair and things like that. And also, I think your bridal team wants to be with you on the day. You know, you are a team, you are, your best friends. That's why they're there in the first place, or they're close family. And so I think that time should be spent together. Yes, certain jobs should be allocated to people that you know. And so a lot of the times, things like marquee weddings, they don't necessarily have venue staff to run them. So it's good to allocate certain jobs to people then, because you don't need the pressure of that on the day as well yourself. But I just think for the small percentage that you could pay somebody just to oversee things, that will bring you back more than the majority of, allocating jobs out to people, because time is so precious and we just don't get time back. And particularly on your wedding day, you want to make the most of every single second. So, yeah. I think allocating jobs to people, you've got to be careful.
A question that's come through on the YouTube side of things is, would you recommend using artificial flowers rather than real flowers?
Artificial flowers actually have become really, really popular, because artificial flower makers have really upped their game, and you can potentially get beautiful artificial flowers. So yes, I would recommend it, but then you can find they're just as expensive as real flowers. So if you find that you're going to do something with them afterwards because you want to keep them, or you can use them as gifts or whatever it may be, then yeah, absolutely, artificial is a great way to go. A lot of my brides, I find, are actually mixing the two together.
Oh,
so they may get themselves a faux garland to start with, but then they're using that as a basis to then add flowers or real flower into. So yeah, a mix of the two is quite good. But faux flowers have come a long way from the old-fashioned type. So yeah, it's a really good option.
And then the other thing that I saw last year, well, a few years I've seen these, is where people put items of jewellery into things as well, memories. So if you've got like your nan's not here anymore, or a member of family, or I've even seen it where someone's put a locket of a dog, and the beautiful thing is they walk down the aisle and then that little locket, I guess you've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I actually had my sister made my bouquet out of brooches. Wow. Special brooches that we brought in from members of the family. There was odd random ones in there that we found in charity shops and all sorts as well, but there were memorable ones in there that were from heirlooms from the family, and we made them into a bouquet. So I didn't have a flower bouquet, I actually had a brooch bouquet. But again, I think those personal things are great. I had a little medal on there that my granddad had actually had from his army days, which is lovely to have on there too. So all those little things are just so special, so lockets and things like that are lovely. Yeah.
And do you cover that with all the stuff that you do?
My job seems to literally go from little to loads, and when I first started, I was sort of like, I just hire props. And then before I knew it, I was styling weddings and I was doing loads. And then I was sitting down with couples and really tapping into them and getting the personal touches in there. So I always say I can do as little or as much as people need me to. But yeah, I get really excited about helping and sorting any part of anybody's wedding day. I love sourcing things for people or finding something that they're struggling to find, I enjoy every aspect of weddings. We're really lucky to be in this industry because it's a jolly thing to be involved with, so it's, we are.
Do you tap into any other type of events, or is it just weddings? Have you found that your skills are somewhere else now, or?
Yeah, so I've done loads of birthday parties as well, and I did a couple of christenings and things like that. Everybody wants to make an event out of something these days. So yeah, we are more than happy to be on board with anything and do that too. I just guess we sort of seem to go into weddings and it sort of went full force that direction. But yes, we're definitely open to other events as well. And I say, especially at the moment during COVID, I mean, we make anything out of anything. A normal Wednesday afternoon, we'll make it special in some ways. I just think it's really important, and more than ever, we need to make memories. So whether they be big or small events, you should just make it into a little bit more of something. Yeah. So yeah.
So what I decided to do was open up, and it hasn't been announced yet. It's just about to be announced, my Beauty Insiders Facebook group, because I felt like my clients have just got so much knowledge that sort of like I wanted to get feedback off them and they were getting feedback off me. So I thought I'm going to put everybody into a Facebook group and do the Beauty Insiders that I've always wanted to do. So I'm kind of finalising that. But I think you're leaps ahead of me. I think you've already started something, haven't you?
Yeah. So I started the group really just to nurture, because the Savvy Stylist does cover different events as well. So, over Christmas, we were giving things that people could do over Christmas to keep them excited. And again, this event's lovely and stuff like that. And New Year. And then to niche it down a little bit, I've made my own Facebook group so that brides, grooms, mother of brides, whoever's helping plan with the wedding day, because it could be maid of honours or whoever it is, can join the group. And really it's there just to keep up, one, at this time, a bit of morale, because everybody's feeling a bit down because they can't necessarily plan and do things, but just to make the wedding journey really exciting. Ask questions. I know when I was getting married, there was 1,000,001 questions I wanted to ask. If anybody checked my Google search bar, they would have thought I was crazy. So it's just a place where you can feel comfortable. We can all bounce off one another and you can ask anything you want to. I'm putting sort of daily offers in there as well of things that you can buy for your wedding that I've seen on special offers. So yeah, things like that. Just a really lovely community to be in. So we can all share our knowledge and wins and all together.
I went in there the other day just to have a look, and it's like you literally have gone round shops and all sorts and seen things and taken pictures of them. I'm like, she's just done so much hard work for everybody and gone out there. So
I love that. I love that. I mean, I was shopping around Sainsbury's and I'll see some special offers and I think, that would work lovely as a centerpiece or something. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and I think that's just great to share that with others,
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of the hard work away. The question basically has come through saying, what's your prediction for 2022 as far as what's going to be popular?
God, it's so hard to say and be put on the spot, but I would like to think if the vaccines are rolling out and we can really crack on and get on with those, and people are not silly about it and also not silly about ignoring rules and things like that.
I think they meant what themes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well,
that's probably
that's a real, that's a Boris Johnson question.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, the themes are far easier. I think actually there's a backlog of themes coming forwards. Obviously, people where they planned and they've still not actually come forwards. But I would say that the rustic is becoming a little bit more luxurious. So I think you'll see quite a lot of peacock greens and green velvets and things like that. Whites and greens are really, up there. Everybody's loving those. So yeah, I think the rustic is definitely still there, but I think it's becoming a bit more luxurious and mixed in with a bit of boho as well. Everybody loves the pampas grass. So going back to sort of the faux flowers and things, you've got the dried flowers. So I think you'll get, a real luxurious sort of boho rustic kind of feel going on.
My first wedding that I did, which was for one of my cousins, and it was a green, I think I was about 11 at the time, and it was a green full length with a little tiny collar, and it was racing car green velvet with a light green, tiny little sort of tiny little sort of neck. And looking back on it, and for the last 2 or 3 years, I'm thinking, oh my God, do you remember what a night thinking? But now I look back at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, had a good time there.
How things change, and I look back and think, I wish I still got that dress because I'd actually wear it now. Not that I could get into it.
It's amazing what trends have gone past, but you can easily look back and you can pull forwards things that are now coming forwards again. Most definitely, yeah.
My only little bit of advice with makeup is that I always say to people, breakfast at Tiffany's will never go away. That look, everyone knows I'm into sort of natural makeup, and basically, there's loads of things that makeup's doing, but it will just make you look you rather than your makeup.
Yeah, I think you look you. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, it's a day to go all out, but I think you want to feel comfortable all day. And I think sometimes you can wear, if you're not used to wearing makeup and things like that, especially, the feel of it, do you know what I mean? And the heaviness of it sometimes. So you want to feel comfortable. So, I always said if I could have my makeup artist with me every single day of the year, I would look $1 million all the time.
Well, my little trick is I'll teach you how to do it, and then you don't have to have a makeup artist.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
So two little questions. One's going to be, how can people get hold of you? And the other thing that I wanted to ask was, if you've got a scenario where you've had to sort of rebook and you've now got another year to wait, what sort of things maybe could you do to keep the wedding theme alive, in respect of maybe your bridesmaids and stuff like that? Would you say send them a present, or would you sort of say get together on regular, or have you heard of any brides doing anything to keep the wedding theme going until the next
loads of brides are actually really indulging in Instagram, I've noticed.
Oh, right.
So what they're doing is they're making their own hashtag, so they're joining the two surnames together.
Oh, wow.
And they're making their own hashtag, or they're making their own Instagram name from that, and then they're making their own page of all of their wedding stuff that's going on all the time. So you'll get a lot of I don't know, you go on Instagram and if you see Mrs. Journey and things like that, but using their names. And so they're inspiring themselves by sharing to each other what their wedding wins are, what's going on, what suppliers changing, do you know what I mean, between them, things like that, which is lovely.
All the things they never had really time to do or even think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Instagram's such a visual thing as well. And Instagram's also a great place for looking for resources and suppliers. You know, people will instantly go to Google, but you'll often find that actually on Instagram, you're getting sort of referrals from real people. So, you know, people who have had weddings at those venues before, if you go to their location tag of that wedding, you'll see who else has been used there before and things like that. So Instagram's a really good place. So I think they're keeping themselves excited that way. Joining groups like my own, I think, keeps the excitement.
Right, and then what's the group called? And if you can we put it in the chat or?
Yeah, it's called the Savvy Wedding Journey.
Can you put in the chat there or not?
Sure. So my page is the Savvy Stylist.
Okay.
And the group is called the Savvy Wedding Journey.
Don't go off here, because if I go off here, I might lose the whole thing. We'll definitely put it in the chat. And how many people are in there now?
I've opened it about 2 weeks ago, and I think that we've got 85 people in there at the moment.
So it's growing literally by the day.
It's growing by the day, absolutely. And I've also just launched a new thing where you can download 7 of my top styling tips for weddings also.
Oh, wow.
So if you go to my website, which I'll also put on the chat, then you can download those completely for free.
Wow. So basically people just can get hold of those, and that really does take quite a lot of stress away, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's something in there for everybody, absolutely. So if you look on there, you'll find all different ideas, and I guarantee that not only will you just love one of them, but you could use 3, 4, 7 of them all in total, do you know what I mean? And some way you can implement those into your day somewhere. So I've put both those on there.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, it's bang on 1:30, so basically we've done really well. But the key things that I wanted to tell you about was the fact of how down to earth Jack is. She's really, really inspirational. She's obviously got a family and she's running a business as well. So she understands about the pressures and how hard it is to keep juggling those balls. So I would honestly say, go onto her page, get in contact with her. She'll really help you as far as your products and things are concerned. I think I can see something there, but I'll add it onto the chat afterwards.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. It's been lovely to be on with you, absolutely. With all your credentials, and here I am sat talking to you, so that's amazing.
My God. I know, but you know what? I need to sort that Instagram page out because I'm terrible. I just put pictures of me on, not posy pictures, but what I end up doing. And what I realise, actually, clients probably want to see a bit of your work, don't they?
But they do, but I think they also want to see you too. I think that I did a thing on Instagram of all my local suppliers that I like to use, and I put a face to everybody that I recommended, because I think ultimately you want to. Unfortunately, we do make judgments on people, but you just want to put a face to the name.
Yeah, maybe not that bad then.
Work. No, absolutely not. It's great to see your work, but it's also really good to see you on there too. You've got to have a real presence on there. And I think what you said about me and my family, people like to buy into that. They like to look behind the scenes, like everybody loves to look at your cats. Do you know what I mean? Your new kittens that you've got with you. So
my cats are definitely, I had, I don't know whether you've actually seen these, Jack, but I had these made for me from my friend Tracy. And this is EstherMarie makeup artist, and then this is EstherMarie mini makeup artist, because I obviously do children's makeup workshops as well. And these are kind of like my little buddies, because I had nobody to talk to. But now, of course, I've got the kittens, haven't I? Holly and Ivy. And somebody actually said to me, because they know how much I'm into branding and things, coming from a corporate background, and the 2 kittens obviously are black and white, and they went, "Oh, she's brought those just to match the brand." I didn't buy them, I rescued them.
I would do that. I have to say that would be perfect. I would do exactly the same.
Anyway, we'll sign off. You can stay on here, Jack, and we'll carry on talking, but we'll get off the live stream. I think I can just get off anyway. If not, I'll press end broadcast, and if we disappear, then we'll catch up on another day. But there's been people popping on all the time, and I'm sure they'll get in contact. So bye to everybody online.
Bye, everybody.